When it comes to buying a truck, all people care about are the facts. And here's the fact: the F-150 is the most popular and therefore best truck you can get.
Get out of here with that. Opinions are what matter. And the Ram, I just prefer it.
Why? This thing is better in every single way. It can tow more, it can haul more, it has better fuel efficiency.
So what? Shut up with your facts. Let's get in the car and I'll tell you why I prefer it.
Sure, whatever.
This is the brand new Ram 1500 Limited. It comes with a 5.7 liter Hemi V8, not with the e-torque yet, but we'll come back to that at another point. It's got 395 horsepower at 5,600 RPM and 410 pound-feet of torque at 3,900 RPM. All of the Ram's new engines are paired to an 8-speed automatic, and the axle ratios are 3.21, 3.55, and 3.92. You can tow 12,750 pounds with it, and it'll fit 53.9 cubic feet of whatever you've got in the bed. The cargo width is 66.4 inches wide and 5 feet 7 inches long. You can haul 2,300 pounds in the back, and you can fit 132 cubic feet of people inside of it. Fuel economy is 15 miles per gallon in the city and 22 miles per gallon on the highway, and all of that comes in at just under $70,000 too. See what I mean? Look at how nice it is in here. Look at these materials.
Yeah, it's pretty good, and it's actually more spacious than what you get in the F-150, so the stats are in favor of the Ram here.
Facts and opinions. See, that's what I liked. We can get along inside of this car. That's how nice it is.
One of the things I found really interesting in this car, the most eye-catching thing, is this ginormous 12-inch touchscreen. It looks like it was inspired by Tesla.
See, another fact that gives this the edge over the F-150. Look at the size of this thing. It looks like a tablet. It works really well. I'll admit, when it goes up to 12-inch, it's a little slower, but Uconnect is still really good. It
is a little slow at times. I found that to be a bit of an issue, but otherwise, it's pretty easy to use, and it hasn't broken down on us yet, as other FCA products have done in the past.
It is an FCA product after all.
The things that bother me in this truck are the stitching in this limited model seems to be inspired by your local tattoo parlor.
I was hoping you wouldn't bring that up. They do look like the type of thing that somebody who has barbed wire right around here would like. But here's the thing about this. It is not my cup of tea, but it is a well-brewed cup of tea. It's like everything that they've done in here looks really good. They've got funky new materials. They don't have any carbon fiber, which is amazing. And it just looks good. It feels good. It's nice, soft leather. Everything feels great. And look at in here. You can put ice down there and have it as a cooler. Just have a whole party run out of the center console of your car.
It's pretty impressive, to be honest, the amount of space that you have in this vehicle. And it just seems like a more family-friendly vehicle. I mean, it's got so many USB ports. I think it has more USB ports than my computer. It also has really smart places to put your phone and tablet so that you can entertain kids.
Absolutely.
Or, you can use them for instructions and stuff like that.
And those back seats are actually comfortable, which they aren't in the F-150. The F-150's back seats are thin and hard. And I've had to travel hours in, not a Limited, admittedly, but another F-150, and it was like being in the back of a truck, unlike this, which is like being in the back of a car.
All right, let's just take this Ram 1500 on the road and see how it handles that.
So here we are, Sammy, and do you get what I'm saying about it being a little nicer to drive in, the ride being a little smoother, better sorted out?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this thing feels much better suited to handle rough roads than the F-150. The F-150 can sometimes feel a little crashy, as we said, and this just feels like buttery smooth on everything. I'm really impressed with this, and you've got that air suspension that will help in certain situations as well.
Right, so we can raise it up if we want to go off-roading, or if you just want to go on a really bad rutted path like we were on, because it gives you a little more clearance, or you can lower it down if you get onto the highway. You can get more aerodynamic, and it'll give you better fuel economy.
Yeah, but no matter what, this Ram isn't as fuel efficient as the F-150, which is a bit of a shame, despite all of the technology that they put in this vehicle, including the air suspension and the updated engines.
And they cut 225 pounds off.
Yeah, they've made it lighter, and it's still less fuel efficient than the F-150. So there's got to be something else about this truck that makes it better for truck buyers, and you're adamant this is better than the F-150. Tell me more why.
Well, see, I think that it's better for the new truck buyer. I think that Ram doesn't have the same requirements for fleet vehicles as Chevy and Ford do, because it's not running after sales numbers. It's not running after that crowd. So that gives them the freedom to turn this into a sedan, like an old school sedan. I'm talking about a body on frame, 60s, like a Dodge Polara or something big and huge, and
that's what people, and you think that's what people are getting in this Ram?
I'm arguing that this is a more family-friendly vehicle. You get nicer materials. Isn't this a nicer place to sit? We talked about that back there.
Yeah, I do like the interior seating is much more comfortable. The materials are much better.
The materials are
great. The fit and finish seems a little bit nicer as well.
And once you're on the road, the chassis has all sorts of sound deadening technology. Inside, you get sound deadening technology. Like, it's really quiet in here.
That's actually what surprised me the most, because whenever you see a Ram 1500 go by, you hear that engine, that Hemi V8, making all sorts of noise, and it sounds good, yes, but inside the truck, it's really quiet. It's really serene. I'm impressed with what they've done here.
Absolutely. It's perfect for American roads. I think that this is doing the pickup truck as old school sedan better than any of the other two. And I think that for families, you can throw stuff in the back.
Right.
I know it's got less towing capacity and less cargo than the Ford, but it's still got enough towing capacity to get your average camper trailer. Okay. You can still tow a camper.
Yeah.
It's got more than enough towing capacity to get like a 30-foot boat. And if you've got more than a 30-foot boat, or if you've got like a fifth wheel, you're talking 2,500, not 1,500. So I think that what they've done is intelligent. They've put their time and effort into making this more comfortable, more quiet,
smoother. Yeah. I get you.
Instead of trying to do a measuring contest of some description or another, for numbers. They're not just trying to go for more towing capacity, more this or that.
This is the 2018 Ford F-150 Limited 4x4, and by now you've probably seen a million of them on the roads, especially if you live in North America. Under the hood of this model is a 3.5-liter EcoBoost V6 that makes 375 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. It's just one of the many engines available for this Ford. It uses a 10-speed automatic and is available with 3 axle ratios with this engine configuration: a 315, a 331, and a 355. It's capable of towing, if properly equipped, 13,200 pounds, and you can haul 3,270 pounds. The cargo box volume is 52.8 cubic feet, and it's 65.2 inches wide. You can fit 131.8 cubic feet of people inside the cab of this F-150, and the fuel economy is rated at 18 miles per gallon city and 25 miles per gallon highway. All of this costs just under $70,000 for a fully loaded F-150 Limited. Now, Sebastian, welcome to the fanciest F-150 you can get, the Limited, and it even comes with its own special little plaque here with the VIN number and a serial number in the armrest.
Sammy, I want to talk to you about blue leather and where you think it belongs in the world.
Definitely in cars, just like the old, Ford Galaxy.
See, I think that it belongs in an incinerator.
Oh, no.
Because blue leather is terrible, like the rest of this interior. Look at down here. Did they run out of blue leather? Or?
Okay, so first of all, you hate the blue leather, and now you're complaining that there's not enough of it in other parts of the cabin?
I'm complaining about scratchy black plastic all around you. I'm complaining about this terrible fake burl oak or whatever it is. No, see, oak is too strong a word for it. It's bad plastic.
Insane. I like that this cabin is somewhat more utilitarian. It's a little bit more practical. It's a bit more rugged. You can use it with your gloves on. You don't have to worry about that ginormous touchscreen. Although I will admit, Sync is pretty average in comparison.
Sync is not great, honestly. And you could hose this thing out, really, because there's nothing that you care about. I will admit, though, that the 10-speed is really great.
I agree with you. It is kind of funny that there's this tiny little button to change your drive modes with it.
Dynamic to sport mode.
Yeah, from normal to sport mode, into eco mode, into snow mode, into tow haul mode. And there's all these other little interesting controls, like the Trailer Pro Backup Assist, which helps you back up your trailer and not destroy your car and your household and everything else you love.
That's fair enough. Which can happen faster than you'd think.
It's also, you mentioned the rear seats in the Ram, and these rear seats, they look kind of nice, but they're kind of flimsy. They're not very comfortable.
They're flat.
And although this truck is spacious, it's not as accommodating as that Ram 1500.
All right, I'm sick of looking at this interior. Let's push some scenery past the windows. Let's take off.
Yep. Here we go.
Yeah, buddy.
So here we are. We're on the road with the F-150, and this is the most popular truck in North America. In fact, they are on pace to break the record-setting sales set in 2004. They might actually sell over 940,000 of these F-Series trucks by the end of the year.
Holy cow, that's impressive. That's one every 35 seconds, you were saying?
Yep, they probably will sell about, 20 of them by the time this video is done?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot. But do you know how that makes me feel? Do you know what my opinion is about that?
What?
It makes it look really normal. You see these all over the place. It's not that special.
What are you talking about? You know what? The way that this thing behaves, at least on the road, here off-road, it can feel a little choppy.
It's a little choppy.
And clumsy. But I guess if you want an off-road version of the truck, you can get a different trim package or at least get that badass Raptor version.
Which, I will admit, that does make me feel good. My opinion about that is positive. But even on the road, when you're on the highway driving in this thing, it's a little wandery. Like, it feels disconnected, and it can be a little alarming if you're going over an undulating highway or something like that. Like, it's not that planted.
I will agree with you. The steering feel is particularly artificial, and you do find this vehicle waving a little bit in its lane or wandering a little bit in its lane.
Yeah.
And it's not the most loaded down feel that you want. But maybe then again, that's because people are expecting to drive their F-150s with stuff in the bed, and that's where the truck will feel more settled.
Fair enough. And that is the big thing. Our bed is empty right now.
Right.
So it's going to feel different. But I don't think that that's fair to only design a truck to be good when loaded, because we see these all over the place, and not that many of them are loaded. It's like SUVs with one driver, pickup trucks with nothing in the bed. So I think the Ram is better there because it feels planted and well sorted at all speeds.
I'm going to have a little bit of an argument with you now, because this truck still feels pretty solid when there's nothing in the bed, particularly when it comes to powertrain performance and fuel economy. I mean, this thing is much more fuel efficient than the Ram's Hemi engine, and then a lot of that has to do with this 10-speed automatic transmission that was apparently co-developed with GM, which is kind of weird. But
it's cats and dogs playing together.
Yeah. What kind of world is that when cats and dogs and GM and Ford can play in the same factory?
It's weird, and made even weirder by the fact that I agree with you. I will agree with you that this 3.5 paired to this 10-speed is a much more impressive drivetrain than the Rams, and it feels just as good. Like I didn't miss the V8 when I had this.
And that also comes together with other elements. As I said, more fuel efficient than the Ram. It has automatic engine start-stop, which is pretty smooth. It doesn't get it doesn't get in the way like these children are.
But getting back to how this interior makes me feel, this is a $60,000-$70,000 truck.
Right.
Like, apart from its size, and apart from its just the volume of material that's in here, why am I paying that much for this limited, which has this hideous thing down here?
Okay, stop talking trash about 0069 over here. Look, it doesn't have the fancy technology like the Ram does with that air suspension, but there are some pretty genuine trucking features of this truck. I mean, it has that Pro Assist trailer backup system, which is, I think that'll be pretty handy for people who tow regularly. And when you equip this thing properly, it can tow over 13,000 pounds and haul over 3,000 pounds. This is a truck made for truck stuff.
Look, and I agree with you that this is a bigger number, but I don't think that it's effectively a bigger number, because if you're towing anything bigger than you would with the Ram, what you want is a 2,500, not a 1,500.
Okay, that's true. So you're saying that this would be like in emergencies if you needed that much space.
Look, in emergency, if you really need to tow your 50-foot boat, which good for you, first of all.
Yeah.
or your fifth wheel trailer. But if you go on any forum, they're going to tell you, what are you doing with the 1500? You really wanted a 2500. You wanted an F-250. So I think that in the real world, the Ram might have smaller numbers, but effectively, it doesn't lose as much as the numbers suggest.
All right, the other technology that the F-150 has includes adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist for collision warning, blind spot monitoring, and that even works when you have a trailer attached, which is pretty handy.
That's pretty handy.
But the Ram has all those features as well, and I find them working a tiny bit better in the Ram.
I agree with you on that.
This one feels more like a nanny, while the Ram feels more like an assist. It lets you drive, and it doesn't tell you that you're doing everything possibly wrong.
This is a little overeager. It wants to jump in too quickly, which, I mean, it's not a bad system, but I prefer the Rams.
Well, this is still the most popular truck in America, but I've heard somebody say McDonald's provides the most hamburgers, and that doesn't necessarily make them the best hamburgers you can get.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. It's not always about numbers, Sammy. Sometimes it's just about what's better.
Trucks are all about numbers, and the F-150 has all the numbers that really matter. That's why it's so popular.
Yeah, but numbers aren't always number one. Sometimes it's about comfort, sometimes it's about practicality, and sometimes it's about having a family truck, and the Ram does that way better.